What's going on, boys?
What's happening?
Mate, you tell me. You're the winner. Oh, not much. Quiet weekend.
Jordy's sporting a nice tan.
Yeah, went to the Bahamas for the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good weekend. Um,
Should we recap that first?
yeah, fuck it. Why not? Why not? We obviously had the VIC State show yesterday,
Yeah.
and we
Man,
managed
that was
to.
a fucking long day. Like I had the live stream on. It was like 9 a.m. our time to like fucking like 4 p.m. our time.
So, yeah, I think they started half an hour late because they accidentally put up that the women's show was meant to start at 3 when it was meant to start at 2.
Oh
So
yeah, okay.
So they pushed us, the guys starting to 9:30 instead of starting at
Yeah.
9. But yeah, it was a long day, man. It was a long
What
day.
time were you on? What time were you on, Jordy?
Time-wise was a blur. I think
I
it
think it
was,
was around midday.
yeah, around midday, something around there.
Yeah.
So
So
you'd had 2 meals at that point, was it?
yeah, 2 meals in and a handful of chips, like one snake
Yeah.
and some dates to
Yeah.
pump up, but we were pretty much there. Like we didn't need anything really.
No.
Um,
You looked really full.
yeah, we did. Mike just fucking nails a peak week, man. He
Does
just,
it every time with you?
man, he just
Yeah.
like I've obviously got the benefit that he sees me every day. Like we'll do an
Yeah.
in-person check-in every day. Um, but even like he's highly detailed in the plans that he sets out. Like
Yeah.
macro wise, everything, the meal plan sorted, salt types to the day, fluids to the everything is
Yeah.
sorted. That's from like 2 weeks out that we're
Yeah.
like. So then when it gets to peak week, we've pretty much got everything sorted.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said to you boys already, like I sent you that photo, and that was 2 days into a carb load. So we were already 2,000 grams of carbs in.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're still so sharp.
Yeah, and there was like 16 liters of water in as well. And then he
That was,
looked
would you
at
say 2,000
2,000 grams of
grams?
carbs over the 2 days, so 1,000 grams each day.
Days. Oh, fuck.
And then he looked at me on the Friday morning and he's like, you can still fill out more,
Yeah.
but we'll pull it back a touch. So I had another 800 grams of carbs on the Friday before we
Yeah.
pulled back. The plan was to pull back on the Saturday. He looked at me Saturday morning and he's like, probably like go a touch. I think we had it set out that it was like just under 400 grams of carbs meant to going in on the Saturday. And he's like, let's add in some rice cakes and jam at one of the meals and
Yeah.
see how that looks. And he looked at me again Saturday night. So it's
Yeah.
just, he's hands on with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, he sees me every day, and then we did morning and night check-ins for a couple of the last couple of days, and it just makes the difference too. But like also, been working together now for 3 years,
Yeah.
so
For
he just
sure.
he knows what works for me now and how far he can push it and what's going to work, what's not going to work. So, and you know what it's like, as stressed as we can get, if I just do what he says and do what he wants me to do,
Yeah.
it'll all be good. So, and it keeps it
Exactly.
less stressful for me. So I just trust everything that he's going on, and he hasn't let me down yet. So
You guys did
Have you
what,
ever,
3 shows? Go
sorry,
on.
oh, I was going to say, have you ever spilled? Because you always look incredibly dry.
nah, not touch wood, touch fucking wood. Um, not yet, not yet.
See,
So
I think that's the thing with you is that as long as your midsection is pretty tight, you
yeah,
can just keep filling you up.
yeah. So like, don't get me wrong, we really pulled down hard the last, not even hard, like 4 days before the carb load, we'll pull carbs down again for like 2 days, pull food back. So lower than what my low days are. And then we'll have 2 days of a fat load. And by then
Yeah.
I'm ready to fucking fill me
Yeah.
the fuck up, pretty much. But
I mean, you got 3 shows last year and you nailed every single one. And one of them was the week before nationals as
Yeah,
well. And it wasn't even a full 7 days, it was 6 days, wasn't it?
yeah, it was 6 days.
Yeah.
Plus like traveling too. Like it was,
Yeah.
we flew on the Wednesday and then the show was on the Saturday. So
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it, man, but I never question a thing he says, especially going into a peak week.
No.
He nails it. But like, it's not just with me, he nails it with everyone that he comes through. Like when they're in condition, like obviously we're at the point where we're at that level of condition where those minor tweaks are going to make a difference. So obviously
Yeah.
you have to get there first.
Yeah.
But as long as the athlete can get to that point, then the
Yeah.
magic can happen in peak week. But
Yeah.
if you're not doing everything beforehand to get there,
Yeah.
nothing's going to happen in peak week.
But for the
So
most part, yeah, that's just going to be on the athlete, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. But look, the other thing is I'm so chill on a show day. Like,
Yeah.
man, I'll sit around, I'll talk shit, whatever. Like,
I've seen you backstage.
and I think
Right.
that obviously helps a lot too. Like cortisol is so low that I'm just
Yeah.
makes everything a breeze.
It's funny because Ruby's the opposite. Hey, I saw her story
Oh,
yesterday and
man.
she was like, I'm gonna fucking throw up. And I
Yeah,
was like,
she's like, she had salmon for her first meal and she's like, it tasted better the first time. So
yeah,
yeah, she was on edge, but like I was the same, and you'd be the same when Maya
same.
competes. Like for
Six
me,
days now.
I'm fine. And Ruby competing last year, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird because I feel like you're like that because you can't control it as much,
100%. 100%.
you know?
I'm like sweaty palms and
Yeah.
everything. My heart's racing. I'm about to walk out of stage for an overall. I'm like, what's up, boys? What's
Yeah.
going on?
Chill. Yeah.
But
Did you feel pretty confident when you stepped on stage though? Like, do you feel like you pretty much had it? I know it's hard because obviously you can't see really what's next to you, but
um,
you
so
obviously knew you were going to be in the mix, so that's always going to be,
yeah,
yeah.
it was weird. In the open or the first class, whatever it was, I thought I was in the middle from the start, just where they lined us
Yeah.
up. So I had
Yeah.
no idea that I was on like the
Yeah.
outside until they moved it into the middle. So the whole
Yeah.
time I don't know, I just must not have realized where I was or whatever, but that was what it was.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I was feeling good going into it.
Yeah.
I think a big part of that was like I kept off the socials for
Yeah.
a lot of the prep, and it wasn't for the reason that everybody thinks, oh, he wants to keep it on the down low or whatever. It ended up being that because it got to like 3, 4 weeks out, and I was like, fuck, I haven't put up anything. But I just
Yeah.
had so much going on externally from the prep that
Yeah.
the furthest thing on my mind was posting physique updates.
Yeah.
It got to 6 weeks out, and like Ruby had surgery at the start of the prep, so a lot of it was helping her out with all of that and managing other things. But we got to 6 weeks out, and in one day, the clutch on my car went, and then I got a call from the real estate agent, and she's like, "You've got 60 days to find a new house." And the 60 days would have put us right between states and nationals.
Yeah.
But like now I'm like
Fuck.
stressing on I need to move house like right now because I don't want to be
Yeah.
doing this close to either of the shows. So at 3 weeks out, we moved houses.
Yeah.
So and then it wasn't until we settled into this place that I like calmed down and like
Yeah.
I dropped 2 kilos in a day just
Yeah.
from cortisol stress coming down from
Yeah.
having all of that settle. And by then I'm like, well, I haven't posted anything now, so I may as well just wait. And
Yeah.
then like I block everything and mute everything on social medias. So I don't want to see anything.
Yeah.
So I think that it honestly helped a lot. Because obviously coming off of last year's show and like we did so well with the results that
Yeah, I was going to say, did you put more pressure on yourself this time?
the pressure on myself was through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the moment prep started, the pressure was there. And like at 10 weeks out, I had a meltdown to Mike. I'm like, I'm not on track. This isn't,
Yeah.
it's not it. He's just like, you're on track. Just Just
Feels
trust me.
like yeah,
I had such a I was in the kitchen, like in the verge of tears at like fucking 10 weeks out. And for what? Who
yeah,
knows? You know,
yeah,
went and trained emotionally that day and hit weights on a hack squat that I've never touched in my life for reps that I shouldn't be touching at that stage of a prep. And then
yeah,
had to sit me down again and be like, listen, I know why you're doing it, but just trust me, don't do it. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay. But I forgot my train of thought. There was prep brain. What was the
Still
question?
prep brain. I think talking about you feeling stressed and pressure on yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So like the pressure was on myself from the start. And it worked out well because I just like looking back at it now, I didn't need the external pressure of everyone else. Like everyone says it in the and they mean it like from a positive way, but
Yeah,
you guys know what it's like. As soon as you put something up, everyone just blows smoke.
yeah,
You look great, you're gonna win this and that. And it's just like, okay, thank you, but I don't need it right now. Like
yeah.
I
Yeah,
need,
I struggle to deal with that shit as well.
yeah, like
I
I
think
need two people to tell me
what
I look good, Mike and
yeah,
Ruby, and
yeah.
Yep.
the rest, it doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
that's the thing. I think me and Tom are good now because we spent so much time around each other in preps as well that when we actually compliment each other, it's because we mean it and we just won't do it if not.
Yeah.
You know,
Like if I don't look good,
But
tell me.
you almost
but
prefer it if it comes with a little bit of negativity along the way. Like this is looking good,
it's Sam.
but we need to
Yeah.
work on this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
all right, cool. Because then you kind of believe the positivity a bit more.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I think it worked out better in the end, not posting
yeah,
anything. Like it was fun getting there yesterday and people were like, bro, you're doing the show. What do you look like? What? And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't think people like cared that much, but
yeah,
that was a nice little, you know, add to my ego a little bit. But,
yeah. Cool. Well,
um,
it was a great show and it was a good lineup as well. I was actually pretty shocked at how good that lineup was.
yeah, man. Yeah,
Pretty good guys in
it
there.
was like the guys in the top two were like
Yeah,
the guy that got second, bro, he was
yeah,
wide as fuck.
yeah. You know, he
Was that
reminded me of
Rocky?
Bruce in his front lat.
Yeah.
Man, he
It was
was
so
so
weird when he
wide.
got into it. I was like, his like taper from his like lats down to his waist, and like the way he sat into his quads. And
Yeah.
I think he was maybe Middle Eastern or something. But I was like, that's a small bruise.
Yeah, man, he was crazy. And he was like to me backstage, he's like last year he did the Adelaide show and he's like, bro, I was in the
Yeah,
last call out. I'm like,
yeah,
bro, you better be pushing through to nationals because you looked insane today.
yeah,
And the guy that was in third, I think it was his first time.
yeah. Wow.
Looked great. He looked.
Yeah,
I said to him, he's like, I'm like, bro, you got round muscle bellies for a white guy.
yeah.
Like
Where'd you
he's
get
just a
this?
bit taller, and if it's one of those things, if he was like a touch shorter, bro,
Yeah,
it's dangerous because he was round, man.
yeah,
But yeah, the lineups were great, man. And in the open class A, from what I did see, they got pushed, man.
yeah. They were up there for a while.
They got worked. They got
Yeah,
worked.
Brett
Uh,
definitely changed it
I'm,
around
I'm
quite a few
looking at the
times.
guy who finished second now, Ashwin.
Yeah,
He did look fucking good actually. I know what you mean with the Barus comparison.
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
because I saw a couple of other photos yesterday, or just video or screen grabs from when you guys were on stage, and I was like, "Fuck, that guy looks alright." I think he's got a slightly longer torso as well, and
Yeah,
the
that's
higher lats in front. It looks good.
yeah, man.
yeah,
It
Yeah.
was just so wide.
yeah,
Even
Did
Mike was like,
you?
when he opened up from the back, it was like he was taking up so much real estate on stage.
yeah,
Yeah, but you also are very fucking wide. So I'm like that too. When I look at people backstage, I'm like, holy fuck, you're wide. And then you see them in a lineup and you go, okay, cool. Like you kind of stack up all right against even the
Yeah,
wider guys, you know?
yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, and I'll get the photos up in a second. We'll go through the results from the rest of the day as well. But yeah, Marcus was the winner of the Open Class A. Man, he
yeah,
looks great.
yeah,
He looks really great. He's got a really nice shape.
Yeah.
I've got nothing but good things to say about him, really.
I think this season is going to be very competitive, which is a good. I mean, I know you as a competitor prefer it as well. I think we all do, but even as a
Yeah.
spectator as well, I think it's going to be really good to watch. I think like every season, every single state seems to have like really good guys and girls in it. Like
Yep.
even WA is always pretty quiet, unfortunately for us. Even though we have like we have a lot of good athletes over here, but it always seems to end up pretty quiet. I think this season ends up really good. I know Tom's got a guy doing it. And there's a few other people that I know doing it as well. I think it's going to be really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think WA tends to have like one or two really good athletes, but not a lot of depth. Whereas I think this
yeah,
season we've got like a handful in most categories as well.
yeah. I think
So
there'll be like top fives, especially in classic, even bodybuilding that are going to be like really good and
Yeah.
are going to
and
be like
men's physique too,
hard to
I
place
think.
a few.
Yeah.
So
Jordy, tell us about what you had to eat today or last night. Did you go out and have a feed last night, or was
you
it
know
mostly
what?
today?
This has been the most reasonable I've been post show.
Yes, because you got another one coming.
Like even last year, WA, man, did I abuse grilled after
Did
that.
you really? Eh?
Oh, bro, disgustingly. I rolled home that night.
Yeah,
So this prep would have to be the first prep that I have not had any cravings at all. Haven't looked at food, haven't anything. Like Mike gave me grilled. I think it was like at 8 weeks out, and I'm like, eh. And he's like, go get some yochi. Had my yochi, and I honestly left some of it because I'm like, I'm good.
whatever.
I
Yeah,
don't need it. I'm happy. So like it was coming up to week of show, and Ruby's like, where are we going to go? I'm like, I'm not feeling anything. Like I don't want anything. So I don't know
What's wrong?
where to go, sort of thing. So I booked Meat and Wine Co.
yeah,
Last night, but like I got off stage and I smashed 4 liters of water in half an hour.
yeah,
Like you remember Nationals last year?
yeah,
Yeah.
I fucked up, right? Okay, so I didn't even eat like an asshole, but
yeah,
like with between depleting water, we used I think it was like a quarter of a mod at Nationals last year. My fuck up was I got off stage being so hyped about the result and whatever else that
yeah,
I didn't drink any water.
yeah,
I just ate some food. Like I had a bowl of cereal, then we had some sushi, and water was the last thing on my mind. So
yeah,
Nationals show day, I was 87 kilos. By Tuesday,
yeah.
I was 100 kilos.
I remember because we got Macca's on the Wednesday night because I started prep on the
Right?
Thursday, and you were like,
Yeah,
"Come on, let's get Macca's," and then
let's
you
go.
told me how much you buy. I was
Bro,
like,
the
"Holy fuck!"
edema I had up to my knees, I couldn't wear shoes and socks for longer than half an hour. My vision was gone. I couldn't read the numbers on a dumbbell from less than a
That's
meter
fucked.
away, and I couldn't
Fucking
read
hell.
what it was. And I'm like, I didn't drink water. So now I
Yeah,
got off stage.
That's what happens when you take a diuretic and don't drink any water.
Yeah. So I got off stage. I'm like, the first thing I did was smash water. Not
yeah,
only because of that, I cramped up so badly after the my posing routine.
yeah,
My right calf cramped. So I'm on the
yeah,
side of stage, knowing I'm about to go back out for the results, and
yeah,
I'm yelling at this at Andy on side of stage. I'm like, bro, can you go get me salt, please? Like
yeah,
I can't put any pressure on my foot. Gone out for the result, come back. He's got me the salt. I'm on the side of stage about to go out for the overall, cranking straight salt into my mouth. My
yeah,
mouth is
Oh,
dry as,
gross.
and I'm like sipping on some water, salt water, back and forth. My leg is killing me. I'm walking out on the for the overall limping. So
yeah. Oh, I remember actually. I remember when you got your award in the open class. You like grabbed your calf. I was like, "What the fuck has he done?" Because I was
yeah,
like, "Is he cramping on the Because
my
I saw
calf
you go
cramp.
down and yeah,
Cramp. So then, like, we're in the going through the our poses for the overall. Mike's yelling at me to flex my right hamstring. And I'm like, I'm trying, but I can't put any pressure like down
yeah,
on that calf because it cramped the whole way through. I
yeah,
had that bad of DOMS in my calf today from that
yeah,
cramp. So when I
yeah,
got off stage, it was like I had the 4 liters of water, had a Gatorade, a couple bananas, and a couple dates. And I'm like,
yeah.
well, I'm full from the water now, so I'm
Yeah.
all good. But
That's like such like a fine line. Like when you're so dry, I remember like this obviously when I just did this season, when I went out for like novice and did that, I was like fine, like bang on, could hit all my poses, had all the energy in the world. And then I had maybe like 10 minutes between the open class after I won novice, and I was like, oh, I should probably get some water and like just grab like a mouthful of like snakes or something. Like I really should, like I felt like it.
Yeah.
And so by the time I went up back on stage 10 minutes later, I was so gassed and so dehydrated. Like I couldn't hold my poses. And then I think I was like third, and then they swapped me and Ryan, moved Ryan in third and moved me out because I was like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, I'm about to beat Ryan. He's a big boy. So I was like stoked. And then I just couldn't hold my poses. I was just cramping
Yeah.
up so much. I was so gassed.
Yeah. So yeah, I behaved myself. I ate my cold beef and rice at the venue.
Yeah.
And then once we got home, I'm like, you know what? I'm just have my fish and rice. Had a
Yeah.
little extra fish than I normally would, 300, 400 grams. That filled me up till like dinner. I got a burger and some ribs.
Yeah.
Went to Yochi, had some Yochi. Pretty content. Went out for breakfast with the team this morning. Had my
Yeah.
usual eggs on toast. Just added a hash brown. Got my toasty like I did in Queensland. And
Yeah.
that's it. Otherwise, back on plan today. So
Yeah. Cool.
yeah, kept it somewhat tame.
That's good.
Enjoyed myself enough. Enjoyed
Should
myself.
we go through the show?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
I'll pull up the results now.
I
Hopefully.
didn't watch any of Memphis. I watched a little bit of bodybuilding. I watched the whole of Classic. And I watched a little bit of wellness and the whole of bikini.
Hopefully this works. You boys can say that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see.
We can see it.
All right.
The open bodybuilder was very, very impressive.
Ebby,
Yeah.
he brought it yesterday.
I saw his update, like Bodybuilders Without Borders reshared his posts and I saw them.
Yep.
Super impressive.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for the bodybuilding this year. I feel like there's a different aura around the season when there's a good bodybuilding lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see Mike Pearson.
Yeah. So like knowing
I'm waiting for that.
yeah, him and like there was some big boys yesterday that brought it. There's
Yeah.
going to be a few others. Like I'm sure Queensland is going to be stacked. I know there's a few boys doing that show.
Yeah.
So just knowing that there's some big boys coming through,
Yeah.
it just makes the season feel a lot different.
Yeah.
Okay. So men's physique masters. This guy looked great.
Yeah.
He looked incredible. His condition was great. His shape was great. I really like, this is the true novice.
Yeah.
Jarvis, I
Yeah.
really liked his shape.
What let him down to get third? Because there he looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah, from the front, he looks great. I think just from the back, it just needs a little bit more thickness
Yeah.
through the erectors because he's got
Yeah.
the width there.
Yeah, he looks great from the front.
Yeah,
He's a
I think
tall
if
guy
he
as
just
well.
got a little bit in the back, he'd be very, very dangerous, man.
Yeah.
The guy who came second, he's from Perth, so I wonder if he's doing Perth as well. Omar.
Is he?
Okay, yeah.
Yep. I used to coach him years
Oh,
ago.
really?
Yep. But he looks good from that shot.
Yeah.
Um,
And the top two the
Same guy
same.
won. Same guy. Yeah, top two the same.
The Masters guy cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. He looks peeled.
Yeah.
And then Bali brought it this year. I think he came back.
Yeah.
So he won. I can't remember if he won VIX last year,
Yeah.
but he came back 3 kilos heavier this year, and his condition was just on point.
Yeah. He looks super sharp.
He looked good front and back, presented well. So, and he obviously won the overall. So,
Good
big
stuff.
congrats there. Classic Physique Juniors.
The guy on the right he's a really good upper body, but the guy on the like Elbeth there on the left, he has crazy quads.
Bro, crazy quad. So he's one of Mike's clients, and me and Mike both PT Albert. And
Yeah.
bro, these kids' quads are just silly. It's like his
Typical
quads,
Asian quads.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's like his quads just swallow his knee.
Yeah.
Silly. But I didn't see much of the classic lineups. So
Yeah.
boys will just have to guess as with me on these because I was
Yeah.
backstage.
That was cool.
But the juniors looked good, man. Um,
Yeah. It's good
I
junior
think,
lineup. It's small but good.
yeah, I think like main thing for junior guys, and look, this carries across to all amateurs. Don't worry about coming in full. Come
Yeah.
in conditioned. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I don't think there's many. I'll say many. I don't think there's many amateurs unless you're like a super heavyweight like Ebby that has that amount of muscle that you need to
Yeah.
worry about bring the full game,
Yeah.
bring the condition because you will look 10 times better bringing condition and you will look bigger bringing condition.
Yeah.
I don't think any like amateur should really worry about chasing the size game. We don't
Yeah.
really have
Not
this.
unless they're already shredded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly right. So for any first timers or anything listening, chase that condition. The
Mm.
muscle will come over time, and there'll be a time to play that fullness game. But right
Yeah.
now, you want to come in as peeled as you can.
I feel like for the most part as well, like if you're a first timer coming in as shredded as you can get, like you're gonna get a look in for the most part, you know.
Yeah,
You're gonna get a look at and then you'll have a best chance there of that, you know?
yeah. So we've got classic physique true novice. This is Lachlan, who was in my class.
Yeah.
He looks good.
Heard?
Good legs.
Yeah, man. He
Good
looked
quad.
like I
Right?
said, he's got he was just really round muscle belly. He looks really
Yeah.
good. Um,
Tobias in second is pretty good as well. He's one of
definitely.
Scotty's
He's one
guys.
of Scott guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If he could just get a little bit more hamstring, I think
I
that'd
think
help.
it's yeah, I would say probably lower body overall.
Yeah,
Uh, but I think his upper body is really good. I know his
yeah,
arms are fucking impressive as well. You can see his tricep there. Like he was fucking peeled as well.
yeah, definitely, definitely. His condition was spot on, and Rajesh brought his conditioning in as well. So I think that was his
Yeah.
first time. So that was a good true novice lineup.
Yeah.
Novice A, Marcus taking out the win. He's just
Yeah.
like
He is.
so impressive, man.
Yeah. I
Um,
was pretty impressed by him as well.
yeah, nice shape, round. I spoke to his coach backstage, and I think they said he was like 100 grams under the weight cap. So he
Wow.
just scraped
Fuck.
in. So
Yeah.
I think they're going to pull it down a touch more for nationals, which will be exciting to see.
Yeah.
But
You think Rocky edged it from the front and Marcus was just too dominant from the back, or was Marcus in front even with the front shots as well?
I gone.
you'd know better than I would, Josh. But
Yeah,
if
look, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Rocky come out, I thought when they put them all in the lineup together, I was like, I was so impressed. Because I mean, he's competed before. I know you know that, Tom, but he's never
Yeah.
really had that conditioning that he's had there. I mean, I was like, "What fuck!" Like he finally nailed it. But it was when they turned around that it was kind of the development was that.
cool. All right, back in business.
Yeah, I was saying about Rocky anyway, like he was so impressive from the front that when he came out, I thought he had it, and then yeah, it was just kind of when they turned around that the main issue was there,
You've been upgraded.
and I just think it was just that gap in development between the two was a bit more apparent, you know.
Yeah,
And Marcus looks pretty peeled, and I think if you're maxing out your weight cap and you're
Yeah.
in shape, you're
Gonna be
putting your
hard to
hands. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially if you're complete as well, you know, if you're at the top of that weight cap and you're pretty like balanced enough everywhere, I think it's going to be pretty hard.
yeah. So then novice B,
This is
Ashford.
the Bruise guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
Aussie Barus.
How's the
Yeah.
lat from the front? That looks great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah, I
looked
thought
great, man.
super impressive.
He looked great, and Lachlan again.
Yeah.
Fantastic, and Samuel in third.
Yeah.
So I didn't see much of this class. So, Josh, did you see any of it?
I saw to me, I thought Ashwin it was a pretty clear winner. Lachlan has, I mean, quite a lot of muscle. But I do think, being a fan of shape myself, I do think Ashwin kind of took
Yeah.
took the lead there. I think Samuel's really good. He has pretty good shape. I think he just needs more muscle, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, his shape looks good.
Yeah.
Then
Oh,
we
who's that?
on to the open. Oh, who's this guy?
Uh,
My mistake in the open class was I put too much emphasis on being the first one in the pose that I
Yeah.
just wasn't hitting my vacuums
Yeah.
well at all.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
I wasn't blowing the air out and like taking the time to get into the pose. So Mike ran backstage and just told me to
Chill out. Yeah.
chill out a bit.
But I always get the complete opposite feedback. Everyone's always telling me, Tom, get into your pose quicker.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if you lose your vacuum, you can always take a few extra seconds and just re-hit that pose.
Yeah, I think
Retransfer.
I was just doing it like so quick that I wasn't even hitting a vacuum.
Yeah.
You can see there that it's just like I've like sort of pulled in and nothing.
Yeah.
But
You're
I mean,
gassed
you're still
already.
keeping your waist in check, though. There's a difference
Yeah.
between not with the vacuum, but still keeping your waist in check versus letting all the air just go straight into your stomach and distending your belly, you know?
yeah,
But I did notice that from the video, from some of the footage that I saw and from some of the photos. Like, I was like, I'm pretty sure Jordy can pull a vacuum. And then I saw a few more pictures of you doing it, like an amplifier with a vacuum. Like, there
yeah.
it is.
I pulled it together for the overall. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. I think it was a
So-
pretty dominating win. I mean, like I said, we said at the start, I think you're just conditioning, just like it takes the lead, and I don't think it gives people a lot of room to catch up, you know?
I also think, Jordy, I think you're a little bit more impressive in real life because the conditioning
Yeah.
is such a strong point. And it's almost like you look better when you're standing next to other guys. Because when you see, because you are quite wide as well.
It's funny you say that because I was saying the same thing to Ruby the other day. I'll look at photos of myself on my own, like check-in photos, and like I don't see the size at all.
Yeah.
And then I'll look at me in a lineup and I'm like, oh, okay, like size-wise, I stack up. It's there.
Yeah.
So it's not until I see anything in a lineup that I'm like, all right, well, maybe there is something there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not a bad thing to have. I think it's funny because I think it leaves people counting, like people like that get counted out a lot, and then by the time they step on stage and they're compared next to other people, it's kind of like, oh fuck, okay, like that's it, you know?
Yeah.
But you're a bit like that too, though, Josh, is because structurally wide and a little smaller on the, especially through the chest and arms, but your structure and obviously conditioning as well. If you combine those two together, they will kind of carry you a little bit further. But Jordy, how far underneath your weight cap were you? Because I'm interested to know how much more room you've got.
Morning of show, I was 90.4, so I'm still 4.5 kilos under.
Yeah, he's got the same weight cap as me.
Yeah. So
cool.
Last year morning of show nationals was 87.8.
Fuck yeah, that's good.
So we managed to put on some size, which was more than I was expecting with a short off season. So
yeah,
we did something right.
For sure.
The old school post show rebound, that's for sure.
Yeah. Legit.
Post show edema rebound.
Post show edema rebound. What we'll do, we'll breeze through the rest of these so we can get to those questions that we got.
Yeah. I think obviously, I think the overall was, I think it was, like I said, I think it was a deep lineup all round. I thought it was super, super impressive.
So we got the open middleweight, Sonny, taking that one out. His condition in person is nuts.
Really, hey?
Yeah, really, really impressive in person.
His legs look stripped out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Gabriel backstage, and he's just a dense ball of muscle, man.
Yeah.
So that was a really good class there.
That's what the VIC always
Lightweight,
brings. The Victorian shows always a lot of depth in like
Yeah.
some of these less exciting categories, if you like. Just the middle weights and the
Yeah.
lighter weights.
yeah. Um,
I think
Jason,
Dean coaches
Dean coaches who?
Jason.
Jason, and I think Dean coaches Rocky in third as well.
Yeah. Okay.
He does.
And I look, Rocky pushed in the Open A class in Classic. I can't remember,
Yeah.
yeah, second or third, and he got third here in the light heavyweight.
Yeah.
But Rocky brought it. I know he competed a few years ago, and he's been working with Dean now, I think, for a little over a year. And
Yeah.
from what I can tell, this was definitely a very improved Rocky. His conditioning was great. And he's another one that's just got round muscle bellies. So,
Yeah.
yeah, credit to Rocky there. He looks great. Open heavyweight. Here we go.
Ebbie's impressive, eh?
Yeah, that's pretty undeniable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
There's such good like top to bottom balance, like roundness as well. Like,
yeah.
it's super impressive.
And I think he improved his posing and presentation a lot since the last time he was out there. And it just made the world a difference.
Mm.
It just helped
Well,
showcase the strengths in his physique a lot more.
Yeah.
trying to think, when did he compete last? Because I've seen him compete before, but I just can't remember which show it was.
I
Was season B last year?
can't remember if it was season. Who won bodybuilding last year? Season.
Mike's guy in Melbourne. Didn't Mike's guy win in Melbourne last year? The really shredded guy, the shorter one.
Oh, Dryden. No,
Yeah.
I don't think he did that season.
Season B last year was Matt O'Reilly won the overall.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think
okay.
Ebby did do season B last year. I think it might have been a few
I
years ago, but I
think it
do
was
think
the
I've
year
seen
that
him.
Mike won his pro card.
Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Super heavies.
Fuck, this guy looks good too.
Keegan.
Yeah.
Demetrius looked good. I know he's one of Dean's guys as well.
Yeah, okay.
But man, Keegan's like as tall as he can wide.
Yeah.
He was just, and seeing him
Look
in
how
the,
heavy he was.
he's just so fucking huge, man.
Yeah.
So huge. But Ebby took it out,
Very well deserved.
but
Very well
very
deserved.
well deserved. Very well deserved.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely the best Ebby we've seen to date. Conditions there, the size is obviously there. And I don't think there were any like glaring weak points from what I can remember yesterday either.
I don't think so either. I think he's pretty balanced all around. Like I said, I remember seeing his photos on Bodybuilders Without Borders. And I didn't realize he was from Australia at first. Like I just couldn't remember him from last time. But like, even looking at them now, like he doesn't really have any weak body parts, you know?
Yeah.
I think I think he's going to be tough to handle at nationals
Yeah. It's
for sure.
It's like we said, it's stacking up to be a stacked nationals bodybuilding lineup between him, Mike Pearson. I know there's Liam Tui in Queensland.
We've got Rago over here as well.
Yeah. And there's, a few of the guys in the lighter weight classes as well that they just come in fucking shredded.
Yeah.
And we saw in season A that the biggest guy isn't gonna, always walk away with it.
Very true.
We'll see how that cookie crumbles, but it's lining up to be a big bodybuilding season, which is
The exciting thing about Mike Pearson is that he never posts anything.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like I don't even think I've seen like a handful of stage photos of him, and it's usually the IFB Pro League's photos.
Yeah.
He never posts anything on his page, so it'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see how he goes if he wins. What he actually posts.
Yeah.
It
He's so impressive. I remember like the first time I saw him compete, I think it was like season A 2021, the last time he did it was. So like 3.5 years ago. And I was like, yeah, super impressive. He came second to Brad Dwight by 1 point.
shit.
Yeah, and he wasn't
Yeah.
coached by Dean back then either. I'm not sure who coached him back then, but
I think
yeah,
he
he's been
kind of coached himself, or one of his close mates coached him.
Yeah.
So yeah, super impressive, super tight.
Looked great.
So I think thankful we have this coverage from
Yes.
Ethan.
Shout
So
out to
we
the
need it for a
boys,
long time.
Ethan and Corey,
Yeah.
Him and Corey, yeah,
killing
they've
it.
started to nail it.
Yeah, same day show day reels too.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Mhm.
we love that. Were there any of the women's results that you guys wanted to go through?
Nothing really. I mean, the bikini winner was, I'll just selfishly shout her out because
Yeah,
she's coached by Jordy as well. But Jen is very, very impressive. Um, I think she's going to be quite formidable at the qualifier. So
yeah. She
I think
she looks
first
great.
timer as well. Yeah, first
I
timer
was
as
gonna
well.
say she was a first timer as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, yeah, super, super impressive.
It's not surprising that a first timer just comes out and fucking puts everyone on watch. I mean, it happens nearly every year. There's
I
this
was gonna
first
say
timer that
it's quite a bit with bikini, doesn't it?
Yeah,
they don't need like a shit ton of muscle. They just need to have amazing silhouette, a good muscle insertion, small waist, like big shoulders, big glutes. It's like you can be a bikini athlete in 3 years.
Yeah.
It's
but the
fun.
shape is like classic. It's like so determined by shape, you know.
Yeah.
She nailed it.
She did, yeah.
But
What about
But
wellness? Was there anyone?
bikini is such a structured category. Like
yeah,
Yeah,
you either have the structure or you don't.
yeah,
yeah.
Bikini.
100%.
And
It's
like,
I mean, it's the category with the least amount of muscle mass required. So if you don't have good shape,
yeah,
fucked.
you're pushing shit uphill a bit. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, she's definitely got that bikini structure.
yeah. She's super, super impressive.
Yeah, like the delts look great. Like even down to like torso length to the length of her like limbs,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just works out really well for the category. So
for sure.
shout out to her.
I think that's
Uh,
probably it. I mean, unless you guys want to cover anything else on that side.
I think that's pretty much all of that. Yeah, we got some questions to go through, or there's anything else you want to cover with the Aussie shows?
Happy to move on. Cover the other
What do
shows
we
as
got
we
this
go.
weekend? We got obviously Perth and Adelaide
Yeah,
Saturday and Sunday. That
Is
should
it
be
two
good.
this weekend?
yeah.
Yep. Perth
Yeah,
is Sunday. Adelaide's on Saturday.
shit. So I know we've got Jamie skipping in Adelaide.
Yeah,
So it's been a couple of years since he's been out there. So I'm excited to see him. I don't know of any other classic guys,
I don't either. Not in Adelaide.
yeah, in Adelaide. So
Um,
it'll be exciting to see that one. I know Sam Gardner is going down from Queensland and he's in bodybuilding. I think he's under 90s.
was he doing? Is he doing Adelaide? Hey,
Yeah. So he's going
Oh,
to Adelaide. But again, I don't know of any other. I remember seeing some photos actually from the posing workshop that there was one or two guys
okay.
that looked.
yeah. I saw Jeremy in the posing workshop, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think he's
Yeah, I
competing.
Yeah,
don't think.
I don't think he's competing.
Yeah.
He looks good. Though.
Um, but there was a photo that Jeremy put up, and I think the guys either side of him are doing bodybuilding.
Yeah,
Because they look pretty peeled in those, and they look
yeah. I
pretty
know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
So there should be a good bodybuilding lineup there. And then we got Perth on Sunday.
yeah. Perth, I think, is going to be pretty stacked across.
Yeah. Tom, you've got Zach.
Yep, Zach's doing classic. We got a guy over here called Ty. He looks fucking good as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be a battle between juniors and potentially the overall as well, I think.
Yeah. Jared's coming in looking peeled. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm actually going to be on the judging panel, but I won't be sitting on the panel for that particular lineup. But
Oh,
so I'll be running. Yeah, I'm going to be judging, but I'll be obviously between judging and then prepping a guy in men's physique and obviously Zach in classic as well.
Yeah.
Big day. Big day.
Big day.
But then bodybuilding, we got Rago, Tony.
Tony, yeah.
Was there another one? Who else? Maybe that's it.
Yeah, no, there is others. I can't. I know. Is Brody Ringvall doing bodybuilding? He's coached by
sure.
Ben Chow.
Not sure actually. I know he's definitely doing classic, but he might be jumping into a bodybuilding category as well.
Yeah, I know that. I think classic is going to be probably the biggest men's.
I mean, men's physique's going to be good too, though, because
we got Tim doing it again.
Yeah,
your guy,
Corey, my client, Omar, who jumped in at the VICs, is, as far as I'm aware, he's from Perth, so he's probably doing it as well.
Yeah,
yeah, should be a good day.
Yeah,
should we go through some questions?
We shall. You've got.
I've got a few.
Did you get any, Jordy?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Yeah, cool.
Got a couple.
Shall I start?
Yeah.
When you're ready.
All right. This guy says, what advice would you give an up-and-coming pro from South Africa searching for a sponsorship? So he's an IFBB pro.
Yeah.
And he's from South Africa. And he's asking for advice on how to get a sponsorship. Well,
wait, I have a question first. Is he an actual pro or is he an elite pro?
No, he's an elite pro because I looked at his profile and there's a photo.
So he's an elite pro or he's an actual pro?
No, like he's an IFBB legit pro.
Oh, okay.
He looks good.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably not the right people to be asking. To be fair, I mean, I'm not from South Africa, so I don't know if there's any.
Well, let's just think about it like
general.
Where
I just think that I don't think it matters where you're from, especially these days. It's not like we have magazines really around anymore. I think it's everything's on social media. I don't think it matters where you're from. If you're marketing yourself pretty well and putting yourself out there and around enough, then I think eventually you'll probably pick something up.
Yeah. And look,
I mean, if we're talking about supplement companies, they probably want to see that you're interested in supplements. So post your fucking pre-workout stack, post your post-workout meal, show an interest in supplements.
How I got my sponsorship with Max Labs. I would just abuse the absolute shit out of posting on my socials about how good the protein tasted.
I think I was the same with bulk nutrients. I just used the products. I was posting the products all the time. So that's probably a good idea. If there's a company from South Africa that use their products, you then post about their products and tag their products and all that sort of stuff.
But at the same time, don't be a supplement company whore and post every supplement that you take. Expecting that one of them is going to choose you. Because if they look at the story and you've posted 15 supplements in the day, then you're probably not going to get what you're looking for. So I think there's obviously many things to go into it because there's a business side of thing for the company itself.
They have to make.
You're probably going to have to show that you can make something for them before they offer you anything in return.
100%.
This is why a lot of supplement companies now just do the ambassador things because they get thousands of social media, content creators, let's call them, that are more than happy to post about their product and have a 10% discount code that they can hand out to everybody. And, the 5% maybe that actually make something on that are the ones not getting a deal. But at the end of the day, a lot of them don't convert over. So if you're relying on getting a sponsorship deal to make money from bodybuilding unless you're on the Olympia stage.
Yeah.
Place in the top 10, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you need to look at other avenues and be good with business or whatever that may look like for you, or just have a normal job, you know?
Yeah. Though those days, unfortunately, no, there's good and bad to it, but the days of big contract signings were done before we even started.
Yeah.
So to any of the younger guys that think that bodybuilding is going to make you money, I'd be rolling around in a brand new car, you know, living who knows where, spending my money on a lot of other things
Yeah.
if it wasn't for bodybuilding. So it's an expensive
And
sport.
bodybuilding. Yeah, I was going to say bodybuilding's not cheap either.
Yeah, you're not doing this to make the money.
No.
Nope.
The ones that stick around are the ones that love it, for sure.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of supplements to a degree, Tyler asks us, overrated supplements in the bodybuilding industry.
I think pre-workout's pretty overrated, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, Tom, no, I don't use pre-workout. I couldn't even tell you the last time I used one.
Yeah.
I think I probably use pump workouts in prep and that's it.
Yeah. I do love a pump pre-workout. You know what it is? I like the placebo effect of having it over the body.
Yeah.
Because if everything else is in line, my hydration's good, my nutrition's good, my sleep's good, the sessions could be good either way. But
100%.
mentally, I'm just like, all right, I need to have this just to like say to myself, okay, I'm about to go and do this.
Yeah, it's like a part of it's a part of the routine, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It flicks the switch a little bit.
And that's nothing against any supplement companies or whatever. Like the products itself are great.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, pre-workouts obviously have their place. Like,
yeah, 100%.
But yeah, and then you get the pre-workout fiends that it's like the most exciting part of their training session is taking the pre-workout.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember being that guy driving to the gym, fucking dry scooping a pre-workout, thinking, "Fuck yeah, like, I'm so cool."
Remember when Total War came out? I was double scooping that at 8 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
I started training at like the tail end of Jacked getting like fucked off as well. Do you remember Jack 3D?
Yeah, Jack 3D.
I remember I think I used it for like the first like 4-5 months of training, and then it was like discontinued.
I worked at Scott Goble's supplement store for a bit. So we'd have all
Really?
the cracked out pre-workouts come in and it'd be like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
Sleep for a few nights because I double scoop whatever we got in.
Yeah.
All right, so pre-workout, we'll take that. This person says Delts best frequency for growth is more less. So
Tom, this one's all you.
Yeah, I was gonna say this.
I don't know, man. I saw your shoulders on the weekend. They look pretty fucking.
So look at your shoulders right now.
Yeah, look at your shoulders right now.
I don't really understand the question. I think he's asking like is more or less. I don't know what that means. All I'd say about training your delts is, yes, if they're a weak point, then you would want to leverage a bit of frequency. You know, hit them 3 days a week. Hit them with every upper body session, just about, if you can. I mean, as long as they're recovering, which they typically do recover pretty quickly, especially side delts. Don't waste your time doing 1,000 different front raises trying to hit your anterior delt, because you do, you hit your delts.
I think there's less emphasis on pressing for shoulders.
Less?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
You're pressing, like we've got pressing movements for chest that you're getting front delt anyway. And the shape that we want to create for the shoulders is going to come from everything on the side delt and the rear delt. So, like, I have one pressing movement a week for shoulders.
Yeah, I do as well.
Honestly, I more so do it just because I like to do it.
Yeah.
Other than, me thinking it's going to grow my front delts.
I think rear delt
for a long time.
Here you go.
Yeah, you don't even train delts.
I just do some laterals and some rears, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I just think rear delts are so like undertrained. Like still, you know.
But yeah,
Um,
I
not
think,
even from like an aesthetic standpoint, but from like a functionality standpoint as well. I just think they're so like underutilized, you know?
but I think people think they're training rear delts and don't really know how to train rear delts.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
when I'm training a client, I try and explain to them that like the rear delt is such a small muscle
yeah.
that your range of motion should like show that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
we don't need this huge arching
Oh, it's crazy. I see it so much, eh?
range of motion, you know? It doesn't need to be that. Like we're only trying to target this little bit here. And
Yeah.
if you're feeling it anywhere else than that spot there, then you're not training your rear delts.
I think like one of the best cues I got, especially for like probably like a rear delt, like pec deck or something, was like to not pull back, like try and just pull it apart, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like pull that like it apart. And obviously in red, like if you're thinking about it, if you're locking everything in, that shouldn't be moving that much, you
Yeah.
know. If you're trying to pull it apart rather than behind you, then that range of movement isn't really going to be that big.
That's where I think there's a lot to be said for like your active range of tension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So like for that rear delt movement, you don't want to be coming all the way back in
no,
on a pec deck or a reverse pec deck.
yeah,
I want to stop like a hand length off that bottom and come
yeah,
back. And then I
yeah,
want to stop just before my elbow is like in line with my rear delt. And I want to
yeah,
keep that active tension range.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think any further than that, like that 90-degree angles, and you're encouraging a lot of movement in between your shoulder blades. So that retraction of the scapula is just going to be working your back and your
But
traps.
then
Yeah, it's all
think
trapped. Yeah,
I also think with rear delts that if you're rowing enough, your rear delts are going to grow from you rowing.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So that goes across to your back training too. Like make sure you guys are rowing and not just doing 15 pull down variations to
Yeah.
try and grow your back.
Why do you think that is that we see less and less good backs in competing these days? I wouldn't say it's specifically Australia. I think I've heard a few people say it's Australia. I don't think it's just Australia. I think it's amateurs across the board, really. Like even a lot of American shows. Like I don't like there's just a lot of shallow backs, you know. There's always a lot of wide backs, but no, like everything is quite shallow, you know.
I think so. Like we all know that back is difficult to train as it is.
100%.
Whether that's down to we can't see the muscle, so our connection with that is less. But a big part of it I want to put down to is this whole uh, optimal training
Yeah,
has killed a lot of things that it's like it's now taboo to do certain exercises.
yeah,
Like a barbell row is taboo. Why are you doing
yeah,
a barbell row? Why are you dumbbell rowing? Or it's become so taboo that you shouldn't deadlift anymore.
yeah,
And I'm just like, I deadlift all year round. And I'll
yeah,
I'll do different variations of deadlifts.
yeah,
Like I'll do a standard deadlift coming out of shows just because I like them.
yeah,
But for this whole prep, most of this prep, I've done a deficit Smith machine deadlift to target my back more,
yeah.
you know?
I think like yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think nothing is needed, but I think there has to be supplements for everything as well. Like I think with the lack of, I think with the lack of deadlifts and the lack of rows and the lack of pulling off the floor, I think there's a more of a lower back issue with a lot of people in terms of like
yeah,
there's no muscle on that lower back,
yeah.
you know.
Like
But I think
I've always wanted my back to like, I want traps that
yeah,
go down to my ass.
yeah,
Like I want two tree trunks there. The
yeah,
whole, I just think it
yeah.
looks sick. So I'm always going to deadlift. I'm always
I
going to,
think
What if your glutes get too big, like me?
Tom. But I
but
think that it's so like person dependent as well because like I know Tom you used to pull off the floor all the time, but you don't anymore, you know, and you don't have any
Yeah.
issues with you know your the muscle development in that area at all, you know. But I think those that do have those issues and they're not doing their movements, there needs to be
yeah,
something, you know, and whether that's
Yeah,
like an or if it's just a weighted 45-degree hip extension, just so they are still getting some sort of hinge, like it needs to be done.
Yeah, I think like an unassisted or a row, any kind of row variation without a chest support should be in most people's programs.
Yeah.
So like it could be a bent over row, bent over Smith machine row, those types of variations. When was the last time you saw? I mean, I haven't done this exercise for I can't remember the last time I did it with like a single arm dumbbell row. I haven't done that for years.
I'll put it in and out. If I didn't have my hernia problem right now, that's why I got one, was from heavy dumbbell.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
I'd still be dumbbell rowing.
I did it most of the last prep, but then again, I had the same issue as Jordy. I have like an inguinal hernia, like near my groin. Like, luckily, I can't see it, but I just pulled out because I just didn't want to.
But I think there's also, I'm gonna say it's a lack of understanding on back movements to what movements hit certain parts of the back. You know what I mean? Like I think people just do back movements for the sake of doing back movements without thinking of what that movement's going to be.
Yeah.
What part of my back am I targeting? You know, I'm just going to go do a row and you do 2 rows that end up being the same because you're pulling in the same line of movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing with back training is that doing all these different back exercises and just allowing your more dominant muscles to take over. Yeah. So like you'll see a lot of people have either got really fucking wide lats or they've got really thick traps and no lats. It's a lot of the time they're missing one component or another because they're just making the strong part stronger.
And like when
I think
go, Josh.
Go on.
You go.
I was going to say, like Tom coaches Jake now, and I think Jake has incredible arms as it is, but I think part of the reason his biceps are so big is that probably when he first started training, his biceps were getting so much activation out of his pulling movements, and his back wasn't getting enough of it. Obviously now his back's like, I think, probably a very good body part of his, but I think part of the reason his biceps are so big is because of that, you know. And it's not like it's nothing he can help with. It's just the way.
I see that with Jake in the opposite way as well, like with his chest, because that kind of has some of the biggest triceps you'll see, and his chest obviously needs a decent amount of work. I mean, the cunt was bench pressing
because he's
like
looking
140 when he was 18.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, he's looking scary.
He does look insane, eh?
Scary. But the other thing with back training, and it's something that I've focused on a lot this like off season and prep, and that I've carried across to trying it with PT clients as well, that has worked really well for them. I've had clients that have never been able to feel what their lat is or what they thought their lat wasn't their lat. And it's things like your head position, where you're looking throughout the movement, your chest position, pulling your chest through the pad, pulling your elbow to your hip. Is your posture up through the movement? Are your shoulders rounding forward too much? Are you actually opening your back around the chest supported movement, or are you just going as far as you think? Are you letting your shoulder actually come up and stretch your lat, or are you stretching your arm up and you know? And then how are you pulling something? Where's the pressure in your hand when you're pulling? Where's your elbow? What line of movement is your elbow going? They're all things that like I think the most on my back days.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's one of those things where like it's like I'm pretty lucky on the fact that with my back, I don't have to think too much. Like I've always just had a really good connection with it. And it's always been a pretty like strong body part. Like I've always just been able to row, whether it's the best form or not. And I've just felt it immediately, like in all the right places. But with my chest is like something I've just had to like all my training, even still, like I just think so much about it, even in my arms as well. Like I have to concentrate so much on what I'm doing, how I'm moving the weight. And I had to strip back a lot of things as well, which was obviously annoying because like we all like lifting heavy, but I just stripped back a lot of things so I could actually feel things properly, you know, and get the most out of what I was trying to get out of it. So I think it just goes the same with anything. Like if you are having issues with it and you're self-aware enough to realize that a body part isn't that good or strong, or you're not, feeling anything, then I do think that's when you probably need to pull things back, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the main part there is that you've got a weak body part. that's when you need to start divulging things and going a little bit deeper. But if you go to a strong body part, you can just about train it however the fuck you want, and it'll probably keep growing.
Yeah.
For me, it's my arms. Like my arms just take a long time to grow versus my shoulders and my back.
Yeah.
So I have to be very careful with, hitting different angles, making sure I'm pausing in the right positions and being a little bit more, I suppose, open-minded to different ideas of training as well.
Yeah.
How did we get onto that question? That wasn't even one of the... Oh, that's right. Josh asked, why do people these days have underdeveloped backs?
Yeah.
Too much overly scientific training, perhaps. I wouldn't disagree with that. I think there's been an overcompensation that's occurred with all the extra information that we have these days. Is that there's an overabundance of information, and then you've got all these fucking textbook warriors that want to train with perfect form and technique. Sometimes you just need to go in there and have fun with it, and then get pulled up from time to time and understand, okay, cool, like maybe that wasn't sweet, that wasn't super tidy. Let's keep the weight next week and maybe just clean it up. We don't need to drop the weight by 50% and fucking pause at the bottom and make sure everything's perfect. I think there's always a happy medium there.
Yeah.
Don't get caught much.
Huh?
Don't get caught in the weeds.
Yeah.
Little shit.
Yeah.
Just frustrates me seeing shit.
Yeah.
This person says shape or condition first?
Condition. Well, shape's hard because it's like
Shape's
you're kind
hard,
of born with it. He means like building muscle, like to make a certain shape, but again, like structure is structure,
Because look, if someone's got shape and they're not in condition, they're losing.
Yeah, I would say condition every time.
Oh, that's a hard one for me because it depends on which way you want to look at it. Because if you have really good shape but you're not in condition, you should theoretically have a higher ceiling if you fucking pull your finger out and get shredded eventually.
Yeah, but
whereas,
are we talking
that's
what's on stage in front of you?
Hey?
Are we talking about like, let's put two people on stage right now. One person has less condition but has better shape, but one person's absolutely fucking peeled, but shape is not as good. Like, who wins out of them two people? I would say the most conditioned person.
Agree. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at it from a context of what would you as a competitor prefer on yourself, to have like good conditioning or the ability to get conditioned quite easily, or just have good shape. And I'm taking the shape every day of the week because it means when I eventually decide to get shredded, it'll be a good look.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
But yeah, from a judging standpoint, you might have the best shape in the world, but if you're not conditioned, you're not going to get a good look in. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Top 5 cereals. Oh, Josh, this is all you, man.
This is a good one. You go first because I know you're a cereal fiend.
I do love cereal as well. Well, Crisp-X would definitely be in there.
Yes,
readily
sir.
available. You don't have to go to because you don't have to go to a fucking mini mart. I give that some value. You don't have to go to a mini mart and spend $15 for it. I bought a box the other day that was $6. It was fucking 30% off. Okay, it was good.
So Crispix is legit in your top 5?
I think it would be.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
What about the rest?
Oh,
you want
okay.
me to go around?
Yeah, fuck. I'm not going to think of that. I could be here all day thinking about fucking top 5.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I think, has to be my number 1.
Really?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
See, my issue is I don't have a sweet tooth, right?
So, really?
Yeah.
For after show.
Like, yeah, after show for like a week or two, and then I go back to like, I'll take cereal out. So like,
so you really don't eat cereal in the off season?
I'll end up taking it out. I'll end up having beef and rice. Yeah.
Really?
I lose my sweet tooth.
I have to force myself to eat more meat meals.
Yeah, I'm a savory guy all day. Like, right now, like I start planning out my off-season meals, and right now protein and like the cereal combo is there. How long it lasts?
Yeah.
Like I didn't have it at all during prep.
So, but if you had to have cereal every day,
it was in my carb load, and if I would, it'd be my combo of Chex, both flavors together. Chocolate.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm upset.
Chex are good. Yeah, I like Chips Ahoy. I like cookies. So
I haven't had them yet. I need to have them when we go to Melbourne because we do not have them here.
See, you know what I got to do? I just got to broaden my horizons and
Yes.
like a new box a week. That's what I got
Yeah.
to do. Yeah. I've got a long off
Yeah.
season ahead, so I got to make this exciting.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I'm the opposite to you, Jordy. Like, I will not have cereal in like a post-show rebound because I'm like, I'll finish this in fucking
yeah,
30 seconds. I can't. Like, otherwise I'll just end up having the whole box. So then I'll end up having more like savory stuff and then adding like heaps of veggies or like fruit or whatever, so I can
Yeah, yeah,
beef it up more. But then when I'm like deep into my off season, I'm like, I'll go cereal for like, especially like a last meal where it's like 9 p.m. and I'm like, I need to fucking eat my last
yeah,
meal and I can't be fucking eating anything else.
yeah.
Um, all right, we didn't quite get 5, but there's a few there for you to ponder over. This is a funny one. Well, whilst we're on the topic of cereal, if you were on death row and had only one choice of your meals, if you were on death row and had only a choice of one of your meals off your meal plan for your last ever meal, what would it be?
So
It
it
has
has
to
to be
be
on
a
a meal
meal.
plan.
Yeah, it has to be on your meal plan. I mean, for me, I'll answer straight up. It's gonna be cream of rice. Isn't it?
Yeah. What would you pick, Jordy?
Oh.
Beef and rice.
Okay, so my options are poached eggs on toast,
Oh, that's good.
That would be good.
barramundi and rice,
Yeah.
beef and rice, or protein oats.
Yeah.
That's what I'm at the moment. Um, it depends. How much oats am I getting? Because if it's low day oats and I'm only getting 50 grams, I'm not
Yeah.
taking.
Is it the same quantity or is it as much
Yeah.
quantity as we want?
Uh, well, it's your last ever meal.
So it
So
has to be the same quantity.
no, I think it could be whatever quantity that you'd like it to be.
Okay.
This is dangerous.
Just 400 grams of oats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd pick cream of rice or oats right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to go with my oats.
I mean, my last meal is a like a yogurt bowl with cereal and like nut butter. That'd be fucking good too.
Your
Mm.
last meal.
Yeah, it's like Chobani yogurt with a bit
Yeah.
of protein powder and cereal and nut butter with like berries and shit. It's fucking good.
Yeah, that does sound good.
Yeah, I'd probably still go cream of rice though, because I like dark chocolate melted like in the cream of
Yeah.
rice. That's
Mm.
can't go past.
90%.
uh, I don't. Thoughts on metformin uses without breaks for a bikini girl? And she's saying her carbs are not very high.
I just wouldn't think she would probably need it. I haven't
Yeah,
used
probably.
Metformin enough or used it with clients enough to even make a comment on it.
The only thing I'll say about metformin is
At
I
least
don't
she's not
really
using
use
insulin.
it. No, clearly not. Carbs are not very high, so you'd hope not. The only thing I'll say with metformin is it is supposed to. Apparently, it has a blunting effect on hypertrophy, so that's why natural athletes should never be using it. And if you're a female coming on and off, I probably
Does it
would just.
really?
Why is she?
Yeah, apparently it does.
Maybe you guys can educate me here. Why is she using it if she's on low carb?
Yeah, I wouldn't even understand that.
I think she was just saying in this context, carbs are not very high.
And I would
So
have been,
does she need to stay on metformin perhaps when her carbs are not high? I mean, I would just swap it for berberine full stop if you're not.
yeah,
If you're a woman.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be using it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it would be an unnecessary supplement. Yeah, I'm on not gonna lie, and it's like every second one is like, I want to see you soon. Haven't seen you in so long.
Is it the random questions?
Yeah, it's the bots. Like anyone you miss right now. Who was the
Yeah.
last girl you texted? This is a good one. What's the least important pose in bodybuilding / classic?
Well, which one?
Let's go bodybuilding. What's the least important pose?
Side tricep. I fucking hate it. I hate side. Actually, I don't know.
Least important. I want to say ab and thigh.
No.
No
No?
way. No, I would actually go side tricep.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
you can get most of what you get out of the side tricep, you could kind
Let's
of get
be
in a
honest.
side.
Half of the guys don't hit a side tricep as a side tricep anyway. So
Yeah, they do. It's like a front ab and thigh.
yeah. They do that.
It's the same with open thigh, though. Yeah, to be fair. Yeah, no, I'd probably agree. Side tricep is as much as I love that pose because it looks good on me.
And for yeah, it is good. And for classic, I don't know. I think we don't have enough to kind of give up.
No. The least important for classic, probably ab and thigh, but I mean, like you said, there's only 5, so
Yeah.
they're all.
To be fair, I could probably, yeah, I would probably agree with ab and thigh because most people do some form of overhead for their favorite classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see the same strong points and weak points in most. The only thing that shits me with the classic pose is how do you compare someone who's hitting a classic pose with one arm above their head versus someone who's doing a twisting back double bicep? Like,
always struggles. Like it should be. You know what? Let's give you 3 classic poses that you have to do.
Yeah.
Go through each one of them.
At least I think it should at least be standing front on. Like I love the twisting back double bicep, and maybe just throw it in there right at the fucking end, but not when you're trying to compare the two competitors.
I don't understand how you compare them.
I don't.
Are we just looking at it as who looks the prettiest in this pose, or like what pose looks the best on? I struggle to compare it, but I tell you, poses are underrated the most, and it shits me.
Underrated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your 4 mandatories, the quarter turns.
Yeah, that's a good point. I always forget about them.
Yeah, well, I think the front relaxed is the most important pose.
Yeah.
I'll say all 4 because the amount of guys that will spend all of their time perfecting their twisting back double and their archer poses and everything else walk out on stage and can't hit a quarter turn and don't know how to hit a rear relax shot and then wonder why the 3rd call out.
Yeah.
It's
to be fair, I would go on.
Yeah, you go.
I was going to say, to be fair, I could probably agree with that for not just the mandatories, but posing in general, because people spend so much time on a fucking routine and they can't even hit their mandatories. I'll probably get in trouble for this, but I didn't even practice my routine. I made it up on stage.
I hardly did. Like, I got it down pat. I hardly practiced it.
Yeah, I had it in my head.
You know, but like I try and explain to people when they do ask about posing. I'm like, if you can't get these quarter turns right and you can't nail them, you're in a second call out because you walk out and it's the first time the judges see you. They're your first 4 poses and then you're on the diagonal. So you haven't even hit a pose yet and they're picking their first call out. So if you walk out and you pose a quarter turn and you can't see anything and your rear shot, you don't even know how to open up.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're in a second call out and you could have the best physique on stage. You could have the most beautiful, but you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball because you didn't know how to do quarter turns because you spent all your time practicing 3 back doubles on a different angle and this and a kneeling, whatever, that you're going to hit in 2 seconds in a posing routine that doesn't get marked.
Yeah.
No,
I 100% agree with everything you just said.
I'm gonna be a little harsh, but any posing coaches out there that are working with clients, whether it's leading into this season or the next, if the majority of your time working with these clients is spent on posing routines, refund them.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you are selling a disservice, okay? They should be coming to you for your help on the poses that they are getting judged on. The posing routine is for you to enjoy your time on stage, for the people that are there to watch you to enjoy that minute, okay? You are there to present a package to the judges that best displays your physique, okay? Now, if you're there just to have fun and you only just want to put out a great posing routine, then credit to you. But if you are there to compete as an athlete and present the best package you can, you need to be focusing on your 4 quarter turns and your presentation for the shots that you are judged on. The posing routine is just for you to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the posing routine is purely for the audience.
100%. 100%.
It's there to give a bit more value to the audience.
Yeah. And look,
And
that's not me saying don't put effort into your posing routine. I still want to see, I put effort into mine. I still put one together, but 90% of my time
Yeah.
is practicing the shots that I'm judged on.
Yeah.
and you can even see it when I've been up there doing my routine before, and I've seen the judges just chatting amongst themselves. They're on their
That's
phones,
what
and
they're
nothing
calculating
with
for.
that because they don't need to look at you
Yeah.
because they're not judging you anyway. So
Yeah,
that's their chance of a breather, to be honest.
Yeah. But they'll say it themselves at the posing workshops. They will tell you that the posing routine is not judged on
Yeah.
the very, very slight chance that the category is so close that they have posed you through 3 or 4 rounds, 5 rounds, and they still cannot decide, then they may look at your posing routine.
But it's
But
never gonna. That's
we
like
got,
so far and few between in an amateur lineup. You know, that's never gonna happen.
yeah.
No.
It doesn't even happen on the Olympia stage.
No. No. Yeah.
So what makes you think that you're gonna win a show because your posing routine was the best up there?
Yeah.
You know? But again, I don't want to turn anyone away from putting a posing routine together. Please put the posing routine together. Pick a great song, hit the most beautiful poses you can. But at the same time, put the same amount of effort into hitting your quarter turns and your mandatory poses.
Put more effort into it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
There's my little rant.
No, it's a good rant. It's I mean, I think a lot of people need to hear that shit sometimes. I think people put so much pressure on themselves performing in their routine because it's just another. I mean, I've always seen it in a negative way as an opportunity to make a mistake. So I'm going to try and make it look good, even though it doesn't need to look good. You could literally fuck up, and as long as you perform it when you're lined up against the other 10 blokes, then that's all that matters at the end of the day.
You can literally go out there and hit a couple of poses in a few different ways, and it's fine.
Yeah, you can just walk out and hit a front relaxed, hit a front double bicep, and then transition into a side chest, back double. Just go through all your mandatories.
Yeah,
and you're done. And then no one's going to bat an eyelid. I'm not too sure how to answer this one because I don't follow this category too well across the country. But this person wants to ask up and coming wellness competitors for next year.
Ruby, when she
I'm
comes
not sure.
back. No,
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask.
I'm waiting on Ruby to come back.
What's the ETA on Ruby?
There is no ETA at all.
From a selfish standpoint, I really hope she does.
I
know.
Without me getting emotional about it, you and me both.
Yeah.
But I think she's the furthest away from competing right now than since we got together.
Yeah.
It's the furthest. I think everything she's been through, and this isn't on the back of the result. It's just these are all health things and her perspective on things. It's just she's been able to take a step back. And like, don't get me wrong, she said to me this morning that like being there yesterday gave her the itch, obviously, as it would to all of us. But the priority right now isn't competing at all.
No.
So
Understandably.
Yeah. That's that.
In terms of other girls, I don't know. I know there's a taller girl, Jordan. I know Scotty coaches her now. I think she'll do really well because I think she had to pull out of the last prep from an injury from memory. That was like 2022, maybe. You know who I'm talking about, hey?
Jordan back.
Yeah, she's super impressive.
Is she wellness? I thought she was figure.
No.
Okay.
I think if she nails everything, then I think she'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, she's got the size. That's why I just assumed that she was jumping into figure because she's got the size for it. I don't know too many others. That's all my questions though, Jordy. I don't know if you had any others.
I'm sure Ruby's hit me up with a few girls, but blank at the moment. Let's do one more. Let's do one or two more, and I've got to get in a meal.
Yeah.
You got any more, Tom?
No, that's what I was going to say. They're all my questions. There was a few others, but I want to get through a couple of yours because otherwise we'll be here all night.
One of the ones I got was the biggest difference between this was one directed obviously straight to me. Biggest difference between this prep and last prep, and it was actually from your client Tom, from Zach. Honestly, everything I was doing was good, and I'm just doing it a lot better.
Yeah.
That's
Just refining your craft.
yeah. Training is a little bit better. Nutrition a little bit better in the off season. It's just time and consistency, really. And again, like I said at the start, it's just more time with having Mike as a coach. You know,
Yeah.
being 3 years into a coaching relationship is a lot of time, and we've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. So there's really not a lot in the unknown, and I think we see it all the time. Guys and girls jump around coach to coach and are looking for the answer that they're not going to find.
Yeah,
because they like to blame their coach for the lack of the result, essentially.
Yeah, and
they think that by jumping to another coach, it's going to change. And it sometimes does, but it doesn't always work that way.
I think people forget that coaching is just a really good estimated guess.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like we're doing what we think is going to get this result. There's no guarantee. Everything could go belly up and we get the opposite result, and we don't know why.
Yeah.
So you going from coach to coach, you're just going from one guess to the other guess, but now this coach has less information than the coach you had beforehand, because now you've given them 4 weeks to get you on stage from nothing.
I will say, to add on to the back of that, I think something that is so, it seems funny even to say that it's underrated, is an actual off season. Like the amount of people that I see complaining about the end result of a competition or how they looked or where they placed, but
you know what I don't understand?
They're going out and partying every fucking weekend and getting blackout drunk, but then they're like, oh, but they're training in the week. That's fine if you just want to be, you know, a normal person who trains and is active. That's great. But if you're wanting to win bodybuilding competitions and you're doing that shit, like it's not going to hold up. You might get away with it a few times, once or twice, but it's not going to hold up.
I don't understand the clients that will they'll get through a contest prep. It's time to start the off season, so they stop coaching. And then
that's the biggest mistake.
6 months out from the show, they've gone through the whole off season on their own, and then they're like, "Hey, coach, I'm back. It's time to prep."
Yeah.
What do you want me to do here?
Yeah.
How am I meant to help you?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, because I think the data of the off season is just as important, you know?
Well, I mean, and if you look about it, what's harder, getting shredded or actually growing the muscle that's required to be competitive in bodybuilding?
Yeah.
Growing muscle is fucking hard.
Yeah.
You need a coach just as much for that, if not more, than you would need one to get peeled.
You haven't done the first part right. The second part of the prep is going to be terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's where people struggle with that, though, is that because there's not that short-term goal that's just around the corner for them to get excited about. You know, when you start a bodybuilding prep, you've got that show in 16 to 20 weeks. So you've got that end result goal that's constantly in the forefront of your mind. Whereas in the off season, that goal seems so far away, they can't subconsciously justify all that energy that's required.
Yeah, I think that's when goalposts have to shift a little bit. And, you know, it's like, for me, I'm not competing until the beginning of 2026 now, which is like 18 months away. So, like, although, I mean, for someone who obviously, me and Jordy want to turn pro and join Tom in the big boy leagues, we're already going to be like quite driven. I do think it says a lot to have shorter term goals in the gym in terms of performance and like numbers that you want to hit in the gym to strive to, so that you're not so focused on how you look, because, you know, those first 2-3 months after a show, you know, you're full as fuck, you're still super conditioned, but there's going to be a point where you don't really look too different week to week, you know, like the scale is going to be going up. Like, obviously you don't want to get too fat, but there is going to be a point where that look isn't really changing that much, you know, so your goalposts and your mentality towards what you're trying to work towards really has to change a little bit. And, you know, you have to kind of step away from how you're looking for the most part and dive into what you're doing in the gym. How can you know your nutrition a little bit more? What can you do to make this whole process better and more enjoyable at that fact as well?
But I think that's the definition, right, of just switching from being an outcome-driven individual to a process-driven individual. And you don't lose sight of that outcome goal whilst those process-driven goals are at the forefront of your mind. But yeah, I think, like you said, just looking at the numbers in the gym, comparing how you looked now versus last off season is always a good motivating factor as well, because I mean you should look significantly improved if you've done the right thing,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, boys. We'll wrap it up there.
Sweet.
Yeah, we'll do the rate my physique next time. I actually forgot about it, to be honest. And we'll chat Olympia next time, hey?
Yes. We'll start nailing down some predictions.
Yeah. We'll do the next one next Monday before Tom goes away.
Yep.
Same time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, should be able to make that work.
Done.
Works for me.
Pleasure, boys.
Alrighty.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much.
We'll speak soon.
Peace out.